A warm welcome to the AX Semantics meetup. Our guest today is Lisa Bleser from AKKU SYS and COcation. Stay with us, subscribe the channel and give us a like.
Okay, today we have an expert here, Lisa, who works at AKKUSYS. Lisa was here a year ago with us. She was our guest 1 year ago, or maybe half a year ago. Yes, okay. And she talked about translation and how AKKUSYS works with AX Semantics. And a couple of days ago, you talked in a podcast about your processes that you don't only use AX Semantics, but also ChatGPT. And today we will talk about how you use these two tools together. And then I also like to hold a brief presentation. I'd like to present to you our experience with ChatGPT, and we also tested Bard, which is the counterpart of ChatGPT on the Google side, so the ChatGPT from the Microsoft world, so that we can compare these two tools and to draw a conclusion. And you will also learn what you can do with AX Semantics in this respect. Lisa, so let's get started. Okay, so I'll ask you a couple of smart questions and you will give us some smart answers. So Lisa, can you tell us a little bit about yourself first? Yes, I can do that. Hi, everyone. I'm Lisa. I've been working in the field of SEO for 7 years now. Currently, I'm the team lead in online marketing at AKKUSYS. We deal with solar systems. Before that, I worked at Auto in the field of SEO, and I am also a freelancer and work as a SEO advisor. I've been dealing with SEO at least for 5 years, so I was in contact with Saim, and I know a lot about AX Semantics already. Okay, so in the last couple of months, ChatGPT really struck the online market. It rocketed it. So what was your impression when you heard about the software that can do everything? Yeah, it was really exciting because especially in the field of online marketing and SEO, it was a hot topic. I visited a couple of conferences in the last couple of months in Munich, for instance, and I heard a lot of talks and presentations about ChatGPT. I heard about the benefits of ChatGPT. It was a true breakthrough, right? Yes, it really rocketed the marketing world. And it is still a hot topic that is on everyone's lips. But people sometimes say that you really have to take a closer look and to understand what it really is about. Yes, because there are some different experiences on this. And there is Jasper AI, a system that did not really make that much headlines, but it's still a great tool. Can you tell us a little bit about Jasper AI? What does the tool do? What it is useful for? Yes, I can talk about it. Jasper is a bit like ChatGPT. They are based on the same language model. They use various language models. And Jasper is only useful for e-commerce and marketing purposes, so that it is trained on different data. And in my opinion, it is focused on the English language. They have a DeepL integration, DeepL plugin, which can be useful for translation purposes, but it is a little bit like ChatGPT. You can ask questions. It has a Q&A function, but it's also template-based. You have this Q&A feature, but you also have numerous templates that you can use for product descriptions, for instance. But you can do also a whole host of different things. You can write Google ads, for instance, or ads or texts for Amazon and so on, just to give you a flavor of it. Now, you use all the 3 tools that you just mentioned. You use AX, ChatGPT, and also Jasper AI. Can you tell us and our customers? Well, we currently have 80% of AX users here. They all have the same question. So can you tell us, what can we do with ChatGPT? So what are the distinctions between the 3 tools? What make them special? And what was your experience in your use case? It always depends on your use case and on the user, of course. But from my perspective, I see that online marketing and e-commerce is something that you can use with ChatGPT. And I differentiate between product texts, product descriptions. We use AX Semantics for our product descriptions because we train our own model with our data. Bless you, Saim. Yes, okay, we use our data to create the texts with AX Semantics, but Jasper and ChatGPT is also really remarkable, especially when it comes to creativity. For category text, for instance, sometimes we don't have that much data that available, and then we use ChatGPT and Jasper to have creative texts as a result. You cannot just tell the system that it should write a category text for your category. No, of course, you always have to double check the facts. You should not just blindly assume and take the text that you get as a result from Jasper. No, of course not. You have to double check the facts, but it is useful for category texts. So it's definitely useful for category texts. And otherwise, for product descriptions, if you have a lot of data and if you have an online shop, I try to use ChatGPT and Jasper, but you have to focus on each and every product. And with AX Semantics, you can use your data and write numerous different personalized product descriptions with AX Semantics. It's really interesting if you say that as a user, as a customer of AX. Okay, a provocative question. What are the weak points as for fact checking and so on? So what are the weak points of ChatGPT and Jasper and also AX Semantics? So if you train AX Semantics, you have a system that is working. But what is required for ChatGPT? What do you need to do? What is the additional effort that you have to put into it? Okay, as you just mentioned, with AX, you only get an error if you really enter this error in terms of your database or the data set. And ChatGPT have a huge database and you don't know the database as such. You don't know what is comprised in this data set. So you don't know what the system has learned and with what data it is trained. So errors can occur. Some facts can be wrong. Some information can be wrong that is just available on the internet, for instance. Or just imagine you have something in the text that is not part of your information, of your data. I tested it with some technically complex products, and it is truly important to check the facts, to monitor whether all facts are correct in the text. And this can be truly detrimental to you if you have false information in your text. If you have 10,000 of texts, you can't read them all, right? But yes, you have to read them all because the facts have to be correct, because otherwise you have wrong information online, or you might have wrong information online. But I use them also, ChatGPT, or to reword or rephrase texts. Just imagine you have an old text and you want to spice it up a little, and you have some versions of them. You can use these tools, ChatGPT, for instance, to have a creative version of the original one. But still, you have to check the facts again. Okay, yes, so you can ask questions at any time via our chat. There's a question here. How do you use ChatGPT for statements in, or to have various statements in with AX Semantics? Can you have different statements? Yes, I tested it and it works. So just as you just suggested it, so we'll word a statement and have it then reformulated in 3 different versions, and it works well. Yes, it is grammatically correct most of the time. Of course, you have to proofread it again, but the result is generally satisfying. What I like with Jasper and ChatGPT is that you can enter a target group. Just imagine you can say the target group is this and that, and then the tool comes up with new ideas and provides fresh impetus for new texts. So it is important to have if you work with solar panels, you have to consider some technical information, and that is why you need to have all the information in your product description. Yes, I'd like to highlight the differences in the various languages. Okay, combining these tools is something that facilitates your everyday working life, right? Yeah, you're a champion in internationalization, right? Yes, you used AX Semantics for translation, and you translated the text for an international target group. You told us how you worked with DeepL and why you opted for AX Semantics. Okay, but let's get back to the topic. What has happened with your daily working life? How do you use the tools? In what way do they facilitate your working life? Could you imagine to use it in some other areas of activity as well? But I will continue to use AX Semantics for our product descriptions. It could be also interesting to use ChatGPT in other areas. For instance, sometimes you don't have that many products in your product category. And if you just have a few products in the category, you could use ChatGPT in your workflow. And in the future, we will mainly use ChatGPT to reformulate, to reword our texts. We have various online shops in Germany, and yes, of course, we sometimes use the same words, and we want to implement or transfer one text from one online shop to the other. And then it's great to just reword the text a little bit, to reformulate them. And then we think ChatGPT can be really handy. We can also use them to summarize text, for instance. All right. Okay, so you will integrate ChatGPT in your workflow. And I have a question. People always say ChatGPT is for free. It's not entirely true, right? But what do you think will happen? I have one or two ideas, but please feel free to tell us a little bit from your point of view in this respect. I think these technologies will become commonplace. I don't think that a fee-based alternative, a fee-based service would hinder us from using it, because there are not that many alternatives. It will become increasingly commonplace. You can ask questions also in search engines already. So it will definitely fundamentally change the way we search for certain aspects. And these models will become increasingly good. So we don't need for all the information to be available in these bots. Of course, these ChatGPT, for instance, is not up to date. It has not all the current information available, but it will improve over time and will become increasingly interesting for us in this respect. Yes, it is really an interesting development. Microsoft and Bing, okay, no, we have to be precise here. ChatGPT as a model and company, and Bing, who use ChatGPT in their search engine. Bing has also ads in the continuous text. Sometimes the ads are still within the continuous text, so you have to be really careful to not copy and paste the advertisements from them. Okay, I'm still convinced that we can truly capitalize on this new development. So data is key, because we give data into the machine. Okay. Are there any questions here? Again, there's a question on the prompts, but I'll revert to this. I will talk about this in greater detail later on. This meetup is recorded, but we will not summarize it. You can watch this or listen to this meetup in English as well. It will be available on YouTube, but we'll also have a German recording of this meetup available on YouTube. You can watch it later on YouTube. Let's share the link to YouTube where you can watch this meetup again. Are there any further questions from the audience? There is one question from Lisa. So you're selling solar panels, right? Have you generated also pictures of the solar panels? Yes, okay, there's still the question of the copyrights. So we are a little bit careful about this. But yes, we tried and tested these softwares already. I held a presentation, for instance, and generated the pictures with this software. And sometimes you don't really notice that these are sham pictures, fake pictures, but we don't use it for our shops yet. Yes, the issue of the copyright is a really hot topic. Data in general is. In the US, someone used the strategy of their CEO and put it into ChatGPT, and the company strategy was in ChatGPT. So please be really careful. The data is the currency here, so nothing in life is for free. That is a fact. So there's a price to be paid, and that's your data. So be careful with what you enter into ChatGPT. Okay, now allow me to share my slides with you and to start my presentation. Maybe you can add to this presentation with your experiences. All right, okay. I think you will know most of what I'm going to tell you already. 4 participants in our last meetup told us that they already work with ChatGPT, and we asked them to contact us to get a little bit of feedback from them. Unfortunately, none of them contacted us. So please, again, please contact us if you use ChatGPT. Tell us about what you do. It is truly insightful for us. We are always delighted to hear about your work processes. We have a working group, and some employees deal with ChatGPT primarily, and they look at Bard and ChatGPT, and they experiment with these tools and document what they do. And I have prepared this here in a slide for you. Here is this board for you where people work together, and you see what they do. They try and test things, they discuss things, and it's a very explorative approach. It's not a structured approach, but they just try and test things and learn from their experience and then try to find a good solution for them. So it's just an approach that is based on trying and testing. For instance, here it's written, how can you describe something in an attractive manner? Can you have bullet points and transform it into a text? So these things are things that we try and test. And yes, we'll keep you up to date and keep you in the loop about our experience. I think we won't leave it at that, but show you some of our interim steps in the time to come. I told ChatGPT that they should write us a product description for muslin. Unfortunately, we cannot see the prompt here, but yes, the prompt was describe how it feels to sleep in muslin bed linen. And I wanted to know what variants, what versions will occur. And you see here, muslin bed linen here. It is worded very nicely. You see the unique texture of the material softly embraces your body and makes you feel calm and relaxed. And then you see that here this the surface is smooth, but muslin is a cotton fabric and it's not smooth, it's not even and straight, but it is a little bit it's a little bit roughened. So and there's the mistake. It is a structured surface. And this is the first mistake of ChatGPT. That's what you just mentioned. You have to double check the facts. So, and muslin, bed linen is a topic where you might have a lot of information online, right? And it's different with solar panels. So yes, so someone from the field of machine engineering said that not every information is online. So the more specific it gets, the more mistakes occur. So with muslin bed linen, you can spend a restful night and wake up invigorated. So some words are repeated here. It's not a mistake in general, it happens to human beings as well. The second version is also on the same issue, but there are some additional information here. The light and breathable texture of the material enables a perfect air circulation and dissipates worms and moisture to create a pleasant sleeping environment. The soft surface of the bed linen is incredibly soft and silky. No, it's not silky, it's not true, and conveys a feeling of safety and comfort. If you want to wake up after a relaxing night, you definitely need to sleep in a muslin bed linen. And it shows that the software is not perfect. It does not lie. It just represents the information wrong in the context. So you see that the surface is not smooth, but roughened. I gave you an example on the generated images from a colleague. Someone generated a picture of me sitting on a bank, and the picture showed me with 3 legs. So the software did not know that a human being doesn't have 2 legs, but it just imagined it to have 3 legs. So the software here just asserts that the surface is smooth, but in fact it is not. Okay, let me add something. Yes, sure, fire away. At Jasper, you can provide a lot of information on the product in the template. For instance, you could enter some product data there and it would lower the likelihood of ending up with some errors. Yeah, the same applies to ChatGPT. You can enter data, but if you want to do this on a product by product basis, you have to put a lot of effort into it. Yes, but you could make a category page out of it or use it as input. Yes, for instance, it's also cool that the air is circulating and that the product is breathable. And it's great to have this information here on the product. But in general, I think there's too little information on that. Then I said that the machine should write us a product description. You can say that the machine should generate a product description. I told the machine to write me a product description on the iPhone 13. It's not possible with the iPhone 14, it's too new, but it's possible with the iPhone 13. And for the world of ChatGPT, the iPhone 13 is new, the newest model from Apple. With the newest model from Apple, you will hold the future of technology in your hands. I think it's a really nice introduction here in an introductory sentence to present this product. The enhanced camera, this is also a true fact, but there's no further information on this. It's just not clear how much megapixel is entailed. So the true facts are not really cited here. They just say that you can have a better photo at the end, that we have an OLED display, but we don't know the resolution of the display. We don't know the different features here. So it's a very general text. But it is a really great creative text that we have here. But despite this, it is very superficial. Maybe you can just write a text on the iPhone 13 and take some of the information or creative passages or sections for your product description for iPhone 14. It is available here, for instance, in various colors and sizes so that you can find the perfect model that fits your personal style, whether you are a gaming enthusiast, a photographer, or a music fan. It is great. The iPhone will be the perfect tool for you that you need for your passion. Can AX be implemented in Shopware 6? Yes, it is possible. It is not that complicated. Stefan Bayer is the person that you can contact for this. Stefan Bayer is a customer of ours. He works at meetup and he works with Shopware 6 and he just implemented AX Semantics in Shopware 6. Feel free to contact him. You can say that we told you to contact him. He is someone who can answer a lot of your questions on this matter. All right, so much for that. Then next, what we did here, you see red and green. The green point is ChatGPT. It's a very common application, and the red point here is Bard. It's the competitor, so to say. And yes, so that's the survey. Thank you very much. Feel free to participate in the survey, answer your questions if you like, and we'll look at this later on. So what did we do? We switched to English because the requirements that we had on the texts in German were not met in German. So if you ask an English question, you get an English answer, and the results were better in English than in German. So then we did this in English because the results were much more interesting for us. And what was insightful here is we had an internal research project where we look at earthquakes, and we asked the machine to give us 3 versions of the following sentence. And we entered the sentence here. Christian, you can see the prompt here. So we did it with a colon, and we wanted to have 3 variants and versions on the sentence. And here you can see the result from ChatGPT. And yes, we see that our task was fulfilled. We have really different sentence structures here. The sentence structure was turned around. We did not specifically said to turn the sentence structure around, but the more precise the prompt is, the better the result will be. And you can see that the prompt was really general here, and the result in generally is satisfying to my mind. And when we look at Bard, we said, please rephrase the following sentence, and here are the answers. And there you can see the difference. We have 3 times the same beginning of the sentence. And I think that it is not satisfying enough, because if you want to read 2 different texts, you would really want to have a different version, right? So they did not really change a lot. They only reformulated the verb and did not change the entire sentence structure. Yes, you can definitely improve that, but still, it's not enough, I think. So ChatGPT really outperformed Bard here in this matter. Let's have a look at the next example. We wanted to have 3 examples here. And here we wanted to have synonyms for the sentences that fit in the sentence. And then we had the sentence and the colon, and then ChatGPT did the following. And here again, ChatGPT performed better. We have the same article in the beginning, but it really changed the subject, the object, and the verb. So we have synonyms for all the words that are included, more or less. The magnitude, strength, power, intensity, size is changed. So here again, we see that ChatGPT did better. So both in the first example and in the second example, ChatGPT did a bit better in finding synonyms and in restructuring the sentences. So the result in general was much more creative. So if you have different products, you can have different results. But in general, the prompt and the result of ChatGPT was a little bit better. But I still like to add something here. I think that it's great that in the first example, they really had different synonyms for the strength and for the earthquake. And in the second result, there's hardly anything changed, right? Only the magnitude was changed. There were only some synonyms for magnitude. So Bard was not as good as ChatGPT, but still, it is still truly great. Both results are great, but if you have to compare it, ChatGPT did a little bit better than Bard. You can see that they have great advantages here. Okay, and then we did something else. We wanted to find synonyms for the earthquake. There's another question in the chat. Could you please repeat this in English? Google Bard is Google Bard, right? Yes, it is BRAD. It is invite only. You cannot access it directly. We were invited to use it. It's Google BARD, Bard. We'll send the link to you in the chat. Okay. And here we did something else. At Google Bard, we wanted to find synonyms for the word earthquake. Of course, you could use a thesaurus or word list, for instance, but it's also great to just use Google Bard. I just told the machine to find synonyms for the word earthquake, and then this happened. I have the word list here, the enumeration of various words that are synonyms of the word earthquake. But sometimes the machine just repeated a word, convulsion, for instance, here. But okay, so much for that. Still, it's a great collection of words. I can work with it. Maybe it provides me with a fresh creative impetus. And it's great if you have to work in a creative way. So it helps and facilitates the work of a copy editor. All right. So much for my presentation. I still think that the best example was the version number 1, rephrase from ChatGPT. And then they restructured the sentence structure. Rephrase was the prompt that was truly effective. I really also like the list of synonyms. I can also look at a dictionary or in a thesaurus, but still it is really helpful. You can just ask a question and get an answer. And I had 2 or 3 talks with customers on ChatGPT, and I realized that some colleagues use our software and they are not copy editors. They are not trained copy editors. And some people think or say they're not creative, or sometimes they just don't come up with right ideas. They do the following. They say, okay, please write a product description on a chair, for instance. It's not too specific, right? But it's a chair that you can use for various purposes. And then they say that the tools comes up with 10 or 20 sentences, and some of them you can just use in AX Semantics for certain product categories. So that's truly fantastic. It really facilitates your work. And at the beginning, we looked at the muslin bed linen. I did not write the product description. It was ChatGPT. I just entered the prompt, but it shows I am not a copy editor. I'm not a trained copy editor, but I just imagine you're writing product descriptions on the same product for years, and sometimes you're really lacking creativity. So this tool helps you to boost your creativity in that matter. Stefan Bayer, you can contact him on LinkedIn. The company is called meetup, METV, METAV, and it uses Pintex as the PIM system. So just in case this is of interest to you. All right, are there any other questions? Maybe there's another question in the chat. Elon Musk said yesterday that Twitter should become an AI company, and Amazon also said that they want to train a text model. What do you think will happen? Well, we'll have to wait and see what happens with Google, right? What they will deliver. And yes, I don't know right now. I haven't tested the model yet. I wasn't invited by Google to test Google Bard, yes, but you can sign up for the waiting list. But I am very excited to see what Google has to offer. But otherwise, a lot of companies will try to gain a foot on the market in this respect, because everything thinks that's the newest thing on the market, and you should definitely try to become part of this market and to tap into this market. And yes. All right. Lisa, we shared your website on SEO consultation. You can find Lisa also on LinkedIn. Feel free to reach out to her if you have any questions also on SEO. If you want to contact me, you can also reach out to me on LinkedIn. Okay, at this point, I'd like to thank the translator for translating. Unfortunately, we never see her, but she is there. The translators are there. And yes, thank you very much. Okay, let's have a look at our survey again. Unfortunately, I was not entitled to launch the survey here, but my colleague was. So, okay, let's have a look at the survey, at the result. What was the result? 24% said that they think it was interesting to find out what challenges other companies face as for content creation. 28% said that they would like to know what the companies do internally as for content creation, and 36%, so the vast majority, wanted to know what other companies do to measure their content success, and 12% think it is interesting to know what tools other companies use as for content creation. We are currently setting up a study on content creation where we ask exactly these questions. And we were interested in knowing what exactly is interesting for you. So we are always very grateful for your feedback, and we would be really delighted to have you participating in our study. I feel remembered 25 years ago, we had a content study, and yes, it's a long time ago, 25 years ago. But back then we didn't have any automated content. Right now everything was manually written, handwritten. Lisa, so thank you so much for joining us today. It was great to have you here. Thank you for providing us with this insightful information. For everyone else, thank you so much for joining us. We see you in 14 days, in 2 weeks' time. And we want to invite Falk, but we'll talk about internationalization in 2 weeks' time. It will be insightful. Either we'll talk about SEO or internationalization, so there's enough to talk about this. So stay healthy, keep your fingers crossed that the weather will improve. I feel a little bit tired because I really hope to have nice temperatures soon. See you soon. Bye bye.